Let's get this show on the road. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Stockwatch Sunday. My name is Brad, and this is Own the Chaos. There's 137 people here. They were waiting to get in. This is crazy. So I just figured out how to schedule live streams, just for full disclosure. And there's people waiting in here 2 hours ago. So for those of you who've been waiting 2 hours for Stockwatch Sunday, y'all are the real ones. That being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in and hanging out with me tonight. I got a lot of special things going on. First of all, thanks for being so understanding for me not making last Stockwatch Sunday. It's only a second Stockwatch Sunday I missed this year. But I appreciate you guys understanding. Not only that, but, that being said, I have a special guest on tonight. His name is Don from the DonFronShow channel. Great guy. Has an excellent channel. He's part of our We Trade HQ community. So we'll be talking about Tesla and where we think it's going, as well as some other EV companies too. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and welcome everybody in here. What's going on? Hank Uncle Flo. That's an interesting name. What's up, Shane? Good to see you. I've been waiting 87 years. What's up, King Bradicus? Good to see you, man. Look at all the comments. I'm loving this, guys. You guys are incredible. I don't even know what to say. This channel has been blowing up over the last couple of months, and it's just been an amazing ride, and I have all of you to thank for that. So thanks so much for the support and the love. Appreciate you. So before we get to Don, though, let's go ahead and get to where I was right and where I was wrong. This is interesting because it was 2 weeks ago that I put out the last Stockwatch Sunday where I was right and where I was wrong. And this will be interesting to see how this all played out. So let's get started.
When Brad was right.
So, Facebook. As of two Sundays ago, I said that it was sitting at $2.16 a share. I stated it was a buy there and was a really good dip opportunity because all of the BS that was going on with the boycott and everything didn't really matter. Facebook was going to be just fine. I shot up as high as $2.47 a share this past week, which is a incredible move. I still love this as a hold, or by some chance, if this does end up dipping, I think it's going to present itself some pretty cool or pretty good dip opportunities. Fastly, what else can I say about Fastly? So 2 Sundays ago, I said, I just nailed this one, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I've been doing that a lot lately, but I nailed this one, stating that it was due for a pullback back then. It was sitting up around $88 or $90 a share. Sure enough, it did. Came back down to around 80 flat, a little bit lower than that if I'm not mistaken, that very Monday. And that was a gift that Fastly gave us because then it shot up over $100 a share as of this week. It got downgraded, which I think is a bunch of BS as well. It is very well worth grabbing in on the dip, in my opinion. I think Fastly absolutely annihilates it this year. I think we get to at least $150 a share by the end of the year. I love Fastly. Next one's going to be CrowdStrike. If you guys caught Friday's video, these were the two that I talked about on Friday. Pulled back below $100 2 Sundays ago, and I said that this was also a good opportunity to buy in on the dip. I wanted it at $90 a share 2 Sundays ago. It did come back down to $94 and then ripped right all the way up to $118 a share. I think we could see, I said 2 Sundays ago, I said we could see 125 by the end of the summer. I mean, hell, guys, we could probably see that by the end of the week. Next is Smith & Wesson. So 2 Sundays ago, I loved this under $20 a share. It's right around 19 flats. It climbed as high as $24.71 and has pulled back a little bit. But I think that this is going to run into the elections, as I've stated. Historically, that's just what it does. So looking at the charts, though, it's pulled back to a pretty reasonable level. It's been holding really well up above $20 a share now. And I think that Smith & Wesson is a good one to hold on to if you're still in that. And then
When Brad was wrong.
the only one that I was wrong on, and I still don't think I'm wrong just yet, but I had to be wrong about something, and that was SHLL. It hasn't really moved much, and I said that it was probably going to continue to tank. So in 2 weeks' time, it dipped and then has moved back up to that $24, $25 range. I still said, at the time I said to understand the risk getting involved in something that is as speculative as this, the company still hasn't even merged in. So we'll see what all that, what happens with that, how everything transpires. But, in my opinion, I still think that if you're looking to hold on to this, it's still very risky, and just understand what you're getting into if you're continuing to hold this, especially if you've gotten in early and you haven't sold anything. I think it's going to be, just something that you really have to understand what's involved with that. And I think it's going to be a good segue to bring Don in on here and talking about EVs and whatnot. So, Don, what's up, bro? Oh, hold on. Let me There he is. There he is. I got you. I forgot to turn you back on. You're good. What's up, man?
Production. Live? What's up?
Yeah.
What's up? EVs. I think they're rocking. I think there's definitely a place for them.
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit more. So we'll talk about Tesla. We just talked off air about how you think Tesla's probably headed to 2000. And so what's your reasoning behind that? Now I know that you're a little bit more technical, but which is fine. If you want to share your screen on that, I'm cool with that too. I thought it was really interesting the way you were showing the trend as well. So if you want to go into that a little bit more, that I would love that. And then if we want to talk about some more of the speculative ones, which ones to go after, or maybe which ones to kind of hold off on, I think people would love to hear that from you.
Well, I guess I could probably figure out how to share my screen and get that rolling for you guys. The one thing I was talking about with the trend and kind of stuff I've been sharing kind of lightly, almost take it with a grain of salt. It was kind of to counteract the everything's in a bubble right now because we're pushing up too fast. And if you look at just Rona as a whole, it kind of came. There was a bunch of panic. The panic's gone now. Well, from what it was, like remember when it first came out, it was millions are going to die. There was so much uncertainty. We didn't know. It was a full-blown cash grab. The market's off. No safe place to hide. Gold was selling off. And so if you kind of look at it from the view of this was a storm to come and go, a tornado is just terrible, but it comes and it goes. There's a devastation left in its path, and you just got to build up. And if you kind of look at the grain of path, things were kind of trending up. And then we take that huge dip, and we're trending back up with some higher highs. Looks like a giant check mark. But if you were to grab just a channel from that first dip down and just channel it back up, we're kind of just now getting back into it. So we're kind of, as much as people think this is a bubble, we're pushing up too much too fast. We're just now getting back into territory we probably would be in had we just stayed the path of just going up the nice boring route from the beginning.
Yeah, it was really interesting when you laid out that channel and where we would be had the Rona not shown up. And Tesla is pretty much where it should have been all along. So it was interesting to hear that from you and that kind of thesis. But yeah, sorry guys, I had the volume a little bit low, so we got to turn back up. So that being said, Tesla obviously is a clear winner in all of this so far with the EV hype train. But there's some ones that I think have some promise, and then some other ones that maybe not so much. I caught a lot of heat about NIO. We were talking about that off air as well, and I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on just NIO. It seems to be the hottest one this past week. It had the most volume the entire week as far as just sheer share volume, but it didn't really move a lot. And my argument was that there was some dilution going on, which is why it didn't move as much. But I kind of want to get your thoughts on that as well.
So for what I do as a trader, if you guys haven't been to my channel, you guys have seen me I draw a bunch of yellow boxes, magic yellow boxes where things bounce. I look for buyers and sellers. I'm not too much of a fundamentals guy. It's usually already reflected in the charts. I probably already know. I'm probably already short if it's headed down. I'm already long if it's going long. While you guys are just now catching the news, hopefully getting on the tail end of it, probably about to lose, because that honestly is how it happens a lot. That's just been me as a trader. By the time the news comes out, the move has already been made. That's how so many retail investors usually buy at the highs, because they're just now getting the news. They're late to the game.
Right.
So as far as that goes, I mean, you talked about dilution in NIO. I think it's where you got most of your heat from, shares being added in. And the bull side to that is, it had the most volume, but it didn't really sell off. Maybe it kind of went sideways and started to push up. Maybe they were just bringing those shares in and it's getting bought right back up. It's being met with buyers, and that's what's holding it up. So it could see that run up. There's always two sides to the coin. And as far as NIO goes, it's rocking and rolling. If it's going to keep going up, like I just went live on my Sunday stream right before this. Now we're kind of back to back, but I compared Tesla to Bitcoin. Someone said Tesla's the new Bitcoin of equities. If the wave's there, I'm going to go ahead and ride it.
Right.
I almost went onto a rant. And, as far as your NIO, I guess for my, I'm still bullish above. If it holds that 1450 level, I can see both sides of this story, because it's an electric car manufacturer. Now in my group there, we actually have a couple of NIO employees, and they say it's pretty good news coming out. They like where their company's going, as much as I can say.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, you're bullish or bearish on it? Which one do you want to hear?
I think that I'm probably going to end up being a little bit bearish on it just because of the amount of debt that they still have to take over. And then, I brought up the unaudited financials because they are a Chinese company, whereas and just to be clear, not all Chinese companies have unaudited financials. We can look at Baba, for example. But I think that there's just a lot of unanswered questions, and I'm not saying that it can't continue to run or that they aren't legitimate, but I think there's just important questions to raise. And if you know what you're getting into and you still want to buy it, that's cool. But if you have no idea, I would just encourage a little bit more research before you end up getting into something and feeling like it's worth holding forever.
Yeah, see, I'm kind of right with you on that one. I'm bullish EVs minus the Photoshop company, the company with just pictures of trucks saying they sell stuff. I'll get to Nicola here in a second. But as far as EVs go, I think what I'm actually more bullish on is I think we're about to kick off an energy race. That's going to be the new fad, the cool thing. And you're going to see battery storage, solar, electric stuff, hydrogen really kicking in gear. I think the buyers we're seeing now, there might be some retail hype in there, but I think it's the investors maybe starting to take over a little bit, get ahead of the game. So, but there's definitely some scary points to, the U.S. and China, and are we going to even still have that ticker?
Right.
So if I was an NIO, I got to say bullish because we're still trending up. So, I think it's more gambling to guess bearish when we're trending up than it is to just keep buying. But that doesn't mean I would definitely keep an eye on the news. I would definitely want to keep an eye out on those fundamentals as far as where's this going to go, because if we hint at we're taking that off the market, how many people bought how many people are back holding from $6?
Right.
And they might just think, well, I guess I've almost tripled my money. I'm seeing some bad news. Then everyone starts to dump at the same time. You get those almost flash crash effects that I would definitely be on the lookout for with NIO.
Right. Awesome stuff, man. That is Don from the DonFronShow. If you guys want to go check him out, he's over there on YouTube. And you can I'll put the link in the description, guys. If you're watching later, make sure that you go visit him. Thanks so much for tuning in, and thanks for so much for your time, Don. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right. See you guys. Or see you, Don. All right. So let's move on to the stocks that I am watching this week. I hope you guys really enjoyed that. And let me know in the comments too, or in the chat, if you guys would want to see more guests. I've actually had a couple of YouTubers, Connor from the Boiler Room. We're talking a little bit about doing that. And I thought about reaching out to a couple others, just making a guest appearance, getting some other thoughts. I think there's this thing on YouTube where everybody thinks that it's just a one-man show all the time. And I want to kind of change that narrative and break that mold a little bit. So if you guys are on board with that, let me know. Getting on to the rest of the show. So the stocks that I'm watching this week, the first one I'm going to come up with is Delta Airlines. Now, if you guys have been in Delta and trying to, figure out what's going on with the company, look, of all of the airlines companies, I like Delta, Southwest, and Spirit Airlines. Those are the three that I think have the best potential or the best setup to really kind of come out of this. Sorry. I think they have the best possible opportunity and potential to come out of this on top. And the reason why I say that is because Delta Airlines has the best balance sheet. They have, one of the best break-even load factors, which if you're not familiar with that, it's the amount of people it takes to actually break even on each flight. They're about 77 to 75% as far as break-even's concerned, which, we're not even getting anywhere close to that just yet. So we already know that earnings are going to be ugly, right? So they have earnings on Tuesday, July 14th, pre-market. Estimated earnings per share are at a loss of $4.24. And personally, I don't think it matters if they beat them or they don't beat them. I think what really is going to matter here is the outlook that they provide moving forward. They have plenty of liquidity, as I said before, and it really isn't their cash burn isn't terrible compared to all of their other competitors, especially American Airlines. That's the last company that I would want to be in if I was really looking to get in the airlines. And I think that you'll be if you want to get into this and hold through earnings, it's not going to really impact you all that much. I think it's going to probably move a little bit. Maybe we'll get some good numbers on increased demand, what have you. I think that's the real number to be looking for. But if you can handle the turbulence here and stick with Delta Airlines, not just through this week, but through the end of the year and maybe even parts of next year, I think that you'll like holding down here from the $27 range. As far as an entry is concerned, look, I'm looking at this and I'm seeing here that it's never really gone below $20 a share. I think, I don't know. We'll see where it goes, but I think that this area right here, if you wanted to scale yourself in and generate a position for yourself, that Delta right here at this price around $27 is going to be a good spot for it. We'll see what happens through earnings, but as we all know, like, it's not a secret. They're going to be ugly. Nobody's expecting Delta to blow everybody out of the water. And so, but that being said, they are a good company. They got a good balance sheet, and all things considered, as far as the airlines are concerned. And I think this will paint a picture as to how well the rest of the airlines are doing after Delta reports on Tuesday. Next is going to be Domino's. So Domino's Pizza. Now, look, this thing has been crazy. The last time the earnings came out, it dropped. It tanked big time because, I don't know, the in-store sales numbers were low, which everybody thought was BS. Sure enough, it was. It tanked all the way down to around $350 a share after that when the Rona first came about. And so then it's done nothing but increase since then, hitting up nearly $400 a share. I think they beat these earnings. Estimated earnings on Thursday pre-market are at $2.21 a share. And I think they beat those, but be careful with this because I don't know what their outlook is going to be here. They have the at-home delivery services kind of starting to take up the market share a little bit. Right. And so that's a big growing concern here as far as that's concerned, Uber Eats and that sort of thing, DoorDash. So I don't know if I think trimming might be a slightly good idea here if you've been in Domino's this whole time. If you haven't been, I think it might also be worth just waiting till after earnings come out to potentially buy in on a dip here. Now, I am seeing a pretty clear support around $3.59. I'm not saying it comes all the way back down there. That would be a significant drop, but I think that if it misses earnings somehow and it does dip back down here, I think that that's going to be a really good dip grab because at the end of the day, Domino's Pizza is king in this space, and I think that it is worth noting that they reported a 20% sales spike in the month of May. We don't have those June numbers, and we'll find those out this week on Thursday. But I think that Domino's Pizza probably will beat earnings, but just be careful with this one. I think it's worth at least holding on to some shares through earnings and seeing what happens. But I will be willing to bet, especially after Friday's surge, that we see a pullback before those earnings come about. So let's check in here real quick. What's up? Let's see here. I'm just checking in with you guys. I always like to do this to say, hey, 420. We got 420 people in here. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So William says trim. Yeah. Hedge clippers. Yeah. I'm with you. So anyways, next, moving on. So by the way, what's up, William? Hey, my first live YouTube event. I love Shell's platform. Yeah, Shell. I mean, we'll see. But welcome, ILC 1234. All right. So let's get on to Netflix. So Netflix they have earnings to report Thursday after hours. Estimated earnings per share is $1.95. Here's the thing about Netflix. There's not a shot in hell I'm buying it all the way up here. Actually, let me readjust this. I had this all marked out. Look at this chart. This is on the daily chart. It will be very tempting to chase here. I just don't know why anybody would buy this up at $550 a share. The reason why I say this is because, they're going to have to blow these earnings out of the water. Estimated earnings per share is $1.95. They're going to have to absolutely crush them. Steve King, by the way, thanks, man. I appreciate you. I wanted to catch it beforehand. Thanks for the donation. But Netflix this is just way too high. They will have to pull out something extraordinary. Not only about their original programming has had to take a back seat. So I think it'll be interesting to hear from them how they plan to produce more content when their actors and actresses have had to basically stay at home. Nobody's recording during this whole time. So how are they going to make up for all of that? I understand the subscriber increase and all that good stuff, but when new content stops, the watching stops. And we're also in summertime. So I would imagine that Netflix probably takes a little bit of a back seat. That being said, I think we could see some areas of opportunity. So if it does drop down, which I anticipate it will, 455, I know it's $100 away from here, but I think 455 seems to be a reasonable area for it to eventually pull down to. Will that happen this week after earnings? I don't know if it pulls back that far. I think that they do beat earnings, but I think that the outlook here is what's going to be really key. So 455 is where I'm looking for a really solid support. A potential pullback could be around 472. Those are the two areas that I'm looking for a pullback. There's not a shot in hell you could pay me to buy Netflix. If you pay me money, I would just hold on to it and wait till it dipped on Netflix. So you couldn't pay me to own it up here, but nevertheless, it's a great company. I think that they are definitely forward thinking and they're definitely worth owning. They're just not worth owning all the way up here. And I think that a fair price will be around the corner here on Netflix. And we'll see how those earnings go. Look, you can see here on WeTrade HQ that the sentiment is to sell. So everybody says sell on this. I'm with them. So next is going to be Square. Now, this one actually has nothing to do with earnings. You can see I had this marked up here. By the way, if you want to come over to WeTrade HQ, it's a free platform that I built with my partner, Jake, and would love to have you guys over there. And you really can, come here and learn, be a part of a community. I have a daily mentorship here where I go live with folks from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern time. I engage in some live trades, also give some pointers and some tips on how to invest in swing trade or day trade in the stock market. If you want to be a part of that, links are down in the description below. You can be there for a free 30 days if you enter the code casino. I need to change that code, by the way. But you get a free 30 days if you want to come be a part of that. I would love to have you guys there. And with that being said, Square got downgraded, and I think it's just BS. It's kind of like the Fastly downgrade. This is nothing but big analysts missing the boat and wanting to downgrade this so they can get cheaper shares. Here's the thing. Square isn't going away anytime soon. It pulled back on Friday from its downgrade, but I think it's a really good opportunity here. 125 a share seems to be a really good support, and if it comes back down to that area and bounces from there, I think it's going to be a really good either dip add or possible entry if you're not in this one yet, but I think it's definitely worth holding on to regardless of what analysts are saying about this. Look, if I listened to everything analysts said, I would have sold Tesla down at $200 a share, right? Or what have you. I mean, they are about as reliable as weathermen. So just take that with a grain of salt. I had a lot of questions about Square and the downgrade and Fastly as well. So I would not pay attention to anything analysts say. Not to say that they are dumb, but they are not reliable as far as buy and sell indicators, in my opinion. Not only that, but they actually own Cash App, so they are responsible for Cash App. If you guys weren't familiar with that, they are driving significant growth, and it has brought in a 115% increase in profits this year. That is an astounding number, and I think that they're going to continue to increase that number. They're bringing in direct deposits on the Cash App as well. Square is going to be huge, folks, and in a world where we are afraid to give a stranger our credit card to swipe or what have you, or to push a keypad, this is where Square comes into play. It's going to be frictionless transactions, and so I think that Square is definitely going to be the future here. PayPal's in that same vein. I've always told everybody that I really like PayPal. PayPal's 1 and Square is 1A. These are both going to continue to move upwards, and I would just take this opportunity this week as a potential area to buy if this continues to pull back. There's no doubt in my mind that Square is going to be up higher. I would say Square probably ends up being 175 by the end of the year, and I think that's being conservative, in my opinion. Next is Charles Schwab. So Charles Schwab, this is an interesting one. So this whole earnings week is going to be based primarily on banks. And so I think the banks at this point, it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. The earnings for banks, I don't think anybody's going to be shocked by them. They're not going to be pretty. But Charles Schwab, however, has earnings on Thursday pre-market. Their estimated earnings per share at 52 cents. And I think that is a joke. I think that Charles Schwab blows them out of the water, that because we've seen a record number of investing accounts across the board. Robinhood, TD Ameritrade, E-Trade, Charles Schwab, you name it. There's been a massive amount of accounts being made because people don't have anything better to do, so they're trying to day trade, or they're just investing all their money because the stock market's come down so far and they don't want to miss this train. So I think that Charles Schwab crushes these earnings, and they do extremely well. Not only that, but they've also went through the acquisition of TD Ameritrade. They've also acquired USAA's investment management firm. So Charles Schwab, in spite of everything that's been going on with the Rona, have been low-key killing it. And I think that this has been underappreciated at this price point. So I think that with this bounce coming off of around $32 a share, I think if it ends up breaking up over 34 or 35, it may end up continuing to run, but I would look for Charles Schwab to crush those earnings. And again, this isn't one that's super sexy or one that everybody's talking about, but I think they are low-key killing it, and I think Charles Schwab ends up doing well this week on earnings. And that is the stocks that I'm watching through Stockwatch Sunday. Now, guys, if you enjoyed that list and you would like to receive a list like this every single day of the week, click the join button next to subscribe, or the link is in the description, and you can get that and be part of the Chaos Crew. You can see people here that are chatting that have those cool little bear badges. They're getting ready to turn into bulls because they've been hanging out with me for so long, which I certainly appreciate. And you get that watch list from me every single day. There's also a level 2 option where you can get a Q&A from me via video that's private, doesn't go out to anybody else, just you folks over there at level 2. If you want to be part of that, certainly would appreciate that support for the channel. And let's get to your guys' questions. So what we got, folks? What's up, Jessica? Love PayPal as a user. You can send invoices for sales. Yeah, PayPal's just crushing it. PayPal is crushing it. Oh, hey, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard, Orion. What's up, Richard? Yeah, I see everybody in the Chaos Crew checking in. What's going on? Okay. So first question here is for Big Chicken 58. You guys crack me up with these usernames. Hi. What about the? Let's see here. What about the Palantir IPO? Sounds interesting. That's one. So I got to be honest with you. The Palantir IPO. What is that? PLNTR. I think it's PLNTR. TR. Maybe. No, I can't find. What's the ticker symbol for that? I don't remember. That one is so new right now that I don't really know much about it, to be honest with you. So let me just go ahead and say that I don't know. It's just too new. I haven't done enough research on that one. But please feel free to reach out to me on social media, at Twitter, at OwnTheChaos, or you want to reach out to me on my Instagram, you can reach out to me there, or check me out at Discord. I would be happy to get back with you on that one as well. So I just, sometimes there's things I don't know. So I would love to be able to answer that question. So make sure that you reach out to me there. I see a lot of people asking about work. So while we're waiting for the next question to come through, look, Slack, if you guys didn't catch Friday's video, just please go watch Friday's video. First of all, it was hilarious. If you guys didn't catch Stone Cold Steve Austin making a guest appearance, please go watch that. But I do like work a lot. I like the ticker symbol WORK. I think it's going to be a really good mover and worth holding on to. So next question here is, Alan, what about PASO merger coming in on the 15th and IEGN? So I'm going to shorten that up, Alan, and just give you my thoughts on PASO. So PASO, if you guys haven't been keeping up with this one, this is a penny stock. This is actually a penny stock that I have been in, and I've been pretty vocal about in the Chaos Crew, which you guys wanted to go check that out, since 009. So this is actually less than a penny. So this went from 009 and has traded all the way up to 16 cents, 17 cents. So it's a 1,700% move from when we first started talking about this stock, and I've been in ever since. I've been selling off some here and there, but holding off for a potential merger that's going to go through with a multi-billion-dollar company. Now, this is still very speculative. Obviously, it's a penny stock, so know that going into it. But if this merger goes through, I anticipate a really strong move from PASO. Closed on Friday at 13.6 cents per share. I think that it would deserve to be much higher than that if the merger goes through. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. Again, very highly speculative, but what a monster move this has had. If you haven't sold any, I think that would be worth, taking some off the table if you haven't done so already, just to hedge your position and make sure that you're riding on some free shares. So thanks for the question, Alan. Appreciate you. And as we wait for the next question to come through, I'll go ahead and see here. Lots of MGM. Look. MGM's kind of been a thorn in my side, but it's one of those things where it's higher, in my opinion, and I think it's just been lagging the rest of the market. So MGM will be fine. So next question for Michael Afaro. Talk about not sexy. Walmart Plus comes out this month. That's hilarious. Walmart Plus comes out this month as Amazon Prime competitor offering 2-hour delivery. What do you think about Walmart? So the thing is that with Walmart, I'll pull this up here. Walmart, look, I like Walmart, but I don't know if I really like it for that reason. Now, I understand that that's why it moved the way that it did. It's had quite an incredible move here. And so I would say that if this somehow breaks up over $133 a share, this probably has the ability to keep moving. We have to just see if the momentum is there. But with that, it's really tough because Amazon is such a strong player. And I think maybe there is some room for Walmart because the only reason I say this is because maybe Walmart has the ability to reach some of the rural areas more so than Amazon does as far as this 2-hour delivery is concerned. So I think that's probably what's going to give them their competitive advantage. We'll see if that actually plays out. But right now, in my opinion, I think the move has already been made on Walmart unless it somehow breaks up over that 133.20 area and then would indicate a potential move higher once it breaks over those previous highs. So that being said, obviously it's a good thing for the company. Walmart has so many other good things going for it, though. Any of these companies that were able to survive, and not only survive, but thrive through the Rona is something worth holding on to. I think that, Walmart has been extremely undervalued at this point, not just because of what they've just released, but because they've been able to not fire people during the Rona. They've hired people. They've hired 150,000 people since March. Walmart's not going anywhere. And like I said, this has thrived through the Rona, and I think that for that reason, they're going to continue to move. Yes, it's not sexy. I agree. But it's definitely worth, if you want something that's just on autopilot, it's a nice steady mover and just keeps delivering. I think that Walmart's definitely a good one to have. Faux show. Okay. Can I get a hell yeah? Hell yeah. I should have grabbed that soundbite. Should I grab a soundbite for Stone Cold Steve Austin? I should just use it. Should be part of my where I was right, where I was wrong. When I get right, Steve Austin just comes and says, hell yeah. For Shamoral Moore, what do you think about canopy growth? Do you think this will go back up now that some businesses are opening back up? That's a great question. So, look, I've never been a huge proponent of anything weed related. But the thing of it is that if you're going to be in something that relates to the cannabis industry, it's got to be canopy growth. I'm actually surprised that it hasn't moved up more than it has, because when everybody was just chilling at home, what else were they doing? We saw that liquor sales went up like crazy. It would only seem normal or natural that MJ sales would go through the roof as well. So in my opinion, I think that it probably has room to go. But consider the risk here. And all of these weed companies have a ton of debt. And a lot of them have convertible debt. And Canopy is not, immune to this. Aurora Cannabis is the absolute worst. They have $20 million in convertible debt. Unbelievable. So I would say that CGC probably has, I can't remember the amount of debt they have, but they still have a lot. So that being said, the only thing that's going to get these really moving is if they get legalized on the federal level. We'll see what happens after this next election, if there's any light at the end of that tunnel, but they're going to continue to struggle. It's going to be up and down. There's going to be a lot of volatility with these cannabis stocks until that actually happens, and then it's just going to go straight through the roof. So just kind of depends on your level of patience here. But in my opinion, any of the cannabis sector, not worth really trading short term, in my opinion. If you want to sit in it forever and just wait to see what happens, as far as them getting laws passed, fine. But I mean, it's just really difficult to see something like this just going up without that behind them. So that is that. There must be some kind of delay on the questions happening. Oh, you're on top of it. You got it. All right, so Jaskaran RKO. What's up, bro? What's up, man? What's up? What do you think about Activision earnings? I placed my bets on it to go up. So Activision, what is that? Let me see. Activision, first of all, I like all of the video game stocks. I think my favorite one is going to be Take-Two. And I had a little bit of a downturn after their last earnings call, but I think that Take-Two ends up doing very well on their second round of earnings for the second quarter. That being said, Activision is very much in the same boat. I think that it deserves a pullback, though. Needs a breather. It's got to come back down to around 77, 69, somewhere around there. Not sure where your entry was on this, but if you got this back when we first started talking about Activision before their first round of earnings, I think that Activision ends up doing really well this time around, too. I just think that it has to pull back at least to some degree before it ends up going higher. Who knows, though? I mean, a lot of these tech stocks are just going through the roof, and rightfully so. You know, there's no slowing these down. It's like I was talking about on Friday in the video, like if you guys hadn't seen that, talking about like a lot of these remote work stocks, you know, they're not going away anytime soon. The cat's been let out of the bag, and everybody has this bright idea that they now can forego leasing expenses to have people working at home. And so the more people that are working at home, the more these work from home type stocks are going to do well. And now, look, Activision, Blizzard, video games, whatever, people are going to play more video games if they're at home. I think it's just a given. It's just going to happen. So Activision, I think it's a good one. I would just, like I said, wait for some sort of pullback. But Take-Two is my favorite one as far as video game stocks are concerned. For Jonathan Wynn, what's up, Jonathan? How do you feel about ARK as a way for investors to get a piece of Tesla? That's a really good question. So ARK Invest, if you guys aren't familiar with ARK Invest, they are the biggest Tesla bull out there. Calling for bullish cases of Tesla to hit $20,000 a share, provided they don't have any kind of, I don't know what the heck's going on here. Provided they don't have any kind of, split, $20,000 a share is what they're predicting for Tesla. Now, if you believe that, I mean, and I think it's, and they said within the next 10 years, I think, or 5 years, something like that. But look, the question is it a good idea to get into it? They have a lot of other stuff that they have going on. ARK Invest is a very, very good company for one reason, and is that is they invest in disruptive technology. And obviously, Tesla is their biggest holding at 10%, but they've even been trimming some Tesla off as well to maintain that 10%. That being said, because they are in disruptive technology, it can be very volatile, but they're obviously doing very well here. I would say that if you're looking to get into ARK, it's worth waiting for some sort of pullback. It had a pullback and then broke right through that resistance around 73. If it comes back down to at least half of where it's at right now, I would say maybe around 77, it might be worth a dip grab. But man, this thing is just keeps going up. I can't imagine that this probably ends up following a little bit more of what Tesla's chart ends up doing. So if Tesla actually ends up having a pullback, chances are ARK will as well. So just be careful with this one, but I do think that it could be a potential opportunity to get in on the cheap as it compares to the price of Tesla, right? So it is something worth considering. I would just say be careful because, again, that's not the only thing they have in their portfolio. And if one of their other companies don't do so hot because it is disruptive technology and it's very volatile, that's something you just have to consider. Tesla needs to split. Yeah, no kidding. For Bodie Beard. All right, we'll get one more question in here. Two more questions. So Bodie Beard, what about PCG? They have exited BK, and you're talking the largest utility company in the U.S. So PCG, look, here's the thing. They avoided bankruptcy, right? And that was they have exited. Yeah. So that's a really good question, Bodie. I would say that if you're looking to get into this from a technical standpoint, there's a pretty solid support here at $7.09. If you're, but I'm not bullish on this at all. I would expect their next round of earnings are probably not going to be good. We'll see. But to your point, you are right. They have a huge customer base. I would say that this probably ends up going up from here. This is on the lower end as far as where it's at right now. May end up making a bullish move. If by some chance you don't get an opportunity down here in the $7 range, I would honestly wait till you see some serious momentum on this because you don't want to get caught in it. So I would even say that if it would have to get up above $10 a share at least. And really, I see a pretty tough resistance at around $12. If it can get above $12, it should move. It should really move. So getting in a little bit earlier than that, certainly understandable. I would just probably scale in a little bit, not really going all in. Buying little chunks here and there if you really see a lot of value in PCG, because I think there might be some opportunities. If you get in a little bit higher price, there might be some opportunities to get in a little bit lower, especially if it decides to take a dip down here to that $7, $8 range. And so I would say that would probably be the approach that I would take on PCG. All right. Okay. You guys are great. You guys are great. How many people we got in here? This is unbelievable. This chat is blowing up. Right. If we could cut down on the spamming as well. We see you guys. We see the questions. Spamming them. This Lion Productions, you got to stop. We're going to put you in timeout. Dave Loritz. Hi, Brad. How about Chegg? I love Chegg. Dave Loritz. Chegg, the school issue's coming up. So here's the thing. Chegg has been, if you guys aren't familiar with Chegg is a really great stock. It has been ripping up. Chegg caters to kids who, or to schools rather, through video conferencing and online learning. That is their specialty. And it's done nothing but go through the roof since the pandemic. And so what I would say is that if it's looking like schools are not going to go back or start on time, and they're going to have to go back to the virtual way of learning again, I think that this is definitely a solid one to get into. There's another one, and the name of the company has escaped me, but I think that that Chegg is a really good company to get into, especially the closer we get to back to school, and if we're starting to get a good picture of this as to whether or not kids are actually going to go back or not. Now, we'll see. I mean, here in Maryland, the Rona we're actually beating it. So, I don't know. We'll see. It's up in the air in Maryland as to whether or not schools are going to start on time. I can keep you updated on that, of course. But, we're down, I think, to about 5% positivity rate or something like that in Maryland. I mean, our governor's been killing it. Marylanders knew what's up. We crushed it. So, anyways, with Chegg, I think that it's probably going to be a good one to grab into. I would wait for a pullback, though. 75.24 seems a bit high, in my opinion. Wait for some sort of pullback. I like it around 71 area for a potential dip grab and a bounce. All right. You guys are awesome. You guys are incredible. This is crazy. This is crazy. All right. Let me get to the last question here. You guys are awesome. What do we got? Yeah, no problem, Dave. Good to have you on the show, bro. NIO. We already talked about NIO on the show. Feel free to go check back in the beginning where Don was there talking about NIO. We had a really good conversation as far as that's concerned. All right, here we go. Last one. Whoops. Is there much upside left for Shop? This is from Cracker Crumbs. So Cracker Crumbs, for Shopify, look, I think there is. The thing is that as long as companies like in e-commerce such as Etsy, by the way, I like Etsy as a really good e-commerce website or company. If you haven't gotten into Etsy or haven't looked into Etsy, definitely do that, as it's priced 1/10 of what Shop is. So looking into Etsy is definitely a good one. So I think Shopify still has plenty of upside. You can even see that this is a bullish flag pattern on this daily chart here. Look at this huge. Let me zoom in here. This is on the daily. It doesn't look as good here. You can see that, this kind of represents what's called a flagpole. And imagine just a flag waving in the wind. You can see that this actually has a really nice move upwards, and I think that it could potentially move even higher this week, especially because Amazon's expected to move even higher this week. So if Amazon's going higher, there's a good chance that Shopify is going to do this as well. It's a great company. The CEO is awesome. I had them featured on Friday's video as well if you want to check that out. But I think Shopify is going to continue to move. I think it's going to continue to rock. That being said, I think there's some cheaper e-commerce options out there for you if you want to go check those out. And yeah. So that's going to do it for me, guys. If you guys want to check out the channel memberships again, please feel free to do so. As always, I will see you all before the bell, and B. Smith is out.